So you've just been introduced to the camera tool inside of Revit Architecture. And so here's how this actually works. If you go to the Quick Access toolbar at the top of your screen, you'll have a doghouse button. Dropping the arrow beside the doghouse button allows you to create a default 3D view, which is going to be an axonometric view. You can create a camera view, and you also have the ability of creating a walkthrough. Focusing in on the camera view, we'll enter the camera command. Now within that camera command, you have the ability of creating a perspective view. Notice that it's checked on here. Unchecking that will create an axonometric view, which is similar to what that engineering views are used for in details. So we're going to create a perspective view so we can create a pretty picture for our architect. Now additionally, when you're creating the camera, you have the ability of setting up what the height of the camera is in relationship to the floor that you're standing on. In this case, 5 feet 6 represents the average human's eye level as they're looking out at the world. Moving inside of my screen, you can see that you have a camera attached to the cursor. Picking a location where you're going to be standing places the camera inside of the model. As I pull my cursor out, you have the target. Whatever is within that cone is what's going to show up within that view. Picking the target places the camera inside of the model. Now, once that camera has been created, we can go ahead and readjust the cropping boundary to widen out our view and see a greater perspective of what our project is going to be looking like. Now additionally, what I'd like to do is I'd like to show this potential perspective utilizing materials within the project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down my properties bar and change this so that I can change how that view is going to appear and choose to use realistic shading. Realistic shading applies the glazing materials as well as the brick materials on top of that wall. Now standard orbiting tools work here inside of Revit so that I can spin my model around and take a look at what's going on and maybe even create a better perspective of my project. Additionally, you can also use the full navigation tool found in the right hand side of the screen. Within that tool, you have the ability of zooming your project in and out. You can pan the drawing around. You can also orbit the model. Okay, we'll get a little bit of a better look at what that looks like. You can look around that model. Okay, I can move up and down. Okay, and I can even recenter what I'm orbiting around. So if I wanted to orbit around, say, that location, that readjusts my view so that I can go ahead and do some orbiting, and I get less of a sharp perspective view of that project. We'll go ahead and move that up a little bit. Let's try this. Let's try panning a little bit to make that view a little bit better. And we'll adjust like so. That looks like a pretty good view, so I'm going to go ahead and finish out my project, readjust my crop boundary, and then I'm off and running.